Okay, guys, if you're watching this, 2 new important news for you, right? That rhymed, by the way. I want to introduce a new co-host, a different face to this podcast.
That's
And
not
also,
what you did last time, though.
shut
Last
up.
time you did it really good. You were like,
Shush. I want to introduce a new co-host to the podcast. And the funny thing about this is that he was actually somebody that I interviewed beforehand, made a great relationship. He actually became a client of mine through a thing. We started working together, and now we're partners. Now I was like, hey, you know what? Why don't we do a podcast together? Why don't we do not just one podcast together? Why don't we just make a home team thing together? And I really think this is going to be a new, like, direction of this podcast, a new direction that a lot of podcasts don't have, just because of the relationship that we had, the time that we met each other. I think we met each other at that time where you were at now that I know you, you were at a time that I didn't know that you were at, meaning that you were not struggling, but like,
no, I was going through it, bro.
You're going through it when
sure.
I met you, right? And now we've gone through that period of like, damn, yo, I told you it was gonna happen 2 months ago, yo, like, bro, it's gonna happen, like, I don't know when, like that. The clients are gonna come, your academy is gonna do good, the podcast is gonna do good, and slowly starting to, at least not manifest, but like come to life, crystallize. But I'm introducing our new co-host for the Leaders Talk Podcast, Alexis Valladares. But guys, look, seriously, real talk though, I really want this to be a very educational but like let loose type of podcast. Like I don't have a script right now. This is very like off the rip. Obviously, I have a theme. I think I want every home team to have a theme, whether it's like sales, whether it's relationship making, whether it's money, whether it's girls, whether it's religion. Like I want it to have like a theme, but no scripted. Just us talking.
I love it.
An hour. So you guys can expect it's gonna be like an hour and a half, bro. No. Don't rush yourself. Just sit back. I genuinely think that there's going to be a lot of things to learn. And this is going to be the first episode. We're going to try to put out like 2 a month.
We're going to start ripping this shit.
Maybe 1 a week.
I think so. I think 1 a week. I'm predicting that we're going to have, by the end of this year, 75 episodes done between me and you. That's it. Just me and you. 75 episodes. That's my prediction.
There's 52 weeks in a year.
That's my prediction. 75 episodes. Are you going over or are you going under? And we're already 2 months in.
Realistically, probably under.
Okay.
75 is crazy. You think people want to hear us that much?
I don't give a fuck what people want to hear or not.
All right, guys. And there's no filter. So
yeah,
no filter.
I curse a lot. Sorry.
But I want to talk about our relationship, how it all started. For those that don't know,
Let's go back, yeah.
Interview that we had that podcast. I remember walking into that room. I was like, yo, damn, bro, like online, like you had the followers, you had all this stuff. I was like, damn, bro, like guy's doing something. You're there very formal. And then I had my agency. I had the marketing agency at the time. And you told me you were working with somebody. Yo, I'm working with the best guy. Don't even bother. Like, just stay with it. So they look, bro, like, I don't know who's doing your stuff for you, but let me just do your thing for free. Just give me a month. I'll work for you. I see the vision. I see what you want after sitting down with you. Like, I really do see it. Just give me the opportunity. I'm gonna work for you for free for a month, and to be now where we're at now.
You worked for free for me for 3 months.
3 months, but
that's crazy because you saw the vision. Like, you didn't know where I was at that time.
This is so crazy.
You didn't know where I was at that time. Bro, this is the thing with entrepreneurship. Like, when you're in the worst times ever, is when you got to show up the most for your business. Like, if you ask for more, what you're going to get is a test. Like, the whole time I was going through that, and I've been through other stuff as well, is like, perfect. Like, this is what you're asking for. Show up for the universe so that the universe can say, all right, bet you got what it takes. Right. So I was strong-faced. I was probably negative in the bank account, right? Like, people think that, like, just because you make X amount of money in a month or whatever the case is, if you're trying to grow your business and scale, your overhead is going to be very big. So we were going through it, bro. And you saw something, right, that day. And I had my mindset on other people. But my biggest thing is, like, people buying into the vision, because I don't give a fuck about the instant results. What I'm looking at is a 10, 15-year vision, and you saw that. Fast forward, look where we're at now.
Yeah.
which is just a start,
And
but it's crazy.
And I want to explain for they understand like where we're at now, because when we say that, people are like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just to explain, he has an academy that he pretty much trains realtors, LOs, big academy. We started working with him, you were getting like your numbers were nothing crazy. He was very stagnant. He didn't get any saves on his things. His insights were like watch time is horrible. Then
I was always putting out consistent content that had decent,
but
normal engagement.
Okay, but
normal engagement for someone that posts content at my level. I had been posting content for 12 months.
Normal engagement. It was trash.
Normal engagement.
It was trash. It was trash. And then after we started working with him, skyrocketed. Like literally everything changed. Like million views here, 500 views here, 200, 300, 200 saves is like a normal thing.
Yeah,
like,
tell them 200,000.
Yeah, like thousands of saves. Like it's crazy. But the reason that I say that is because at that point too, I took a risk. I was like, damn, bro, like work for free for a month.
No, you weren't even working for free. You were paying for the editing.
I was paying for.
You were paying to work with me. Yeah.
But I want to emphasize that because. And I don't want to speak like every other part. Man, a lot of people, entrepreneurship, but it is true. I think when people, at least my initial mindset when I started the agency was like, yo, I gotta get to the bread like right away. But then you don't realize you're actually probably gonna go like negative for a couple times because you have to buy into the vision of other people, whether it's this person, whether it's that person. Like, it doesn't really matter. But you have to say, yo, you know what? I gotta invest in myself. I gotta take the risk on myself and show like what I really could do. Because at that time, I didn't have much proof. But what was your mind at? Like that?
Like at that time?
Yeah.
Just like content-wise or in general?
Yeah, in general.
I mean, it was tough, bro. It was a tough period of time, for real. Before you met me, there was a huge period of success and wins, no losses, right? For like 24 months, it was like no losses, straight wins. So I forgot what losing was, and I thought that I'm only going to win forever. I was wrong.
So you just had an ego.
I built an ego, which I don't think is a bad thing if you use it the right way, but I was using it the wrong way. I got way too comfortable. My thoughts and emotions that I had before the results changed. I got comfortable, not confident. I'm always confident, but I got comfortable and I stopped doing the things that got me to where I was at. Hence, weaknesses in my business started opening up. Markets shifted, which a real entrepreneur should not depend on market shifts. Markets shifted. Overhead had been accumulated and the things started happening, But again, ultimately, any entrepreneur that has longevity is gonna go through that. How do you react? It's not about what happens, it's about what you do when that thing happens, right? And I can tell you that I passed that test with an A++, each and every one of them.
Why do you say that?
All right, let's go back.
I want you to get.
You want to get deep?
I don't want to get deep. I don't want to just say what I had these. All
right. Let's get deep.
No. Because this is why. Because I don't want this to be a surface level part. Like I want you to literally say like, yo, I remember this day when I was at Gecko with the team of this real estate.
Okay, yeah.
With negative to that. Like I want you to get deep.
We can get. Let's get into it. This podcast is gonna go long now. So okay, first big test, right? I invested in crypto back in 2021, I think it was, and I had close to $250,000 in crypto.
Lost it all.
No. I had close to $250,000 in crypto. I was closing more real estate than ever. And then in my 25-year-old mind, I was like, this is not going to stop. So I started building teams. I started buying cars. I started getting overhead, right? I was living in a condo at that time. My monthly expenses were probably anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 a month, every month, no matter what happened. Whether I closed or not, $15,000 to $20,000.
What expenses? 15 to 20?
I had 2 cars. I had a condo that was $3,500 a month. I had an office for my team. I had all the softwares, all the systems, cleaning, car washes, haircuts, groceries, dinners. And then I bought a house. I bought a house, and I was paying for a mortgage while paying for a condo, 2 cars, all the other stuff I just mentioned, and repairing the house. I had an XYZ budget for that house when I bought it, 30, 40K. When it was all said and done, we're about 175,000 in to the house. I thought that I was parked under a money tree that was not going to stop raining money.
With crypto?
Huh?
With crypto or with the real estate?
I was in a bubble. I was like in a cloud, which is not a bad thing. Like the positive thinking that I was on was not a bad thing, but my actions got comfortable. And that was the bad thing, right? So, but bro, ultimately, like, whatever. Let me get to the point. The point was that there was a point in time where I was in my condo, ultra successful, right? Top producer, making multiple 6 figures, blah, 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 where I had a decision. The decision was pack your bags, go home and live with your mom, stop the renovations. This is where it was. I owed like $30,000 or $40,000 in contractor money.
Which you didn't have.
I did not have. I had no deals in the pipeline. I had all the bills coming up. It was either pack your bags, like literally the conversation with my attorney was cut the lease, like rip the lease, right? Like just break out of it, get out of the condo, stop the renovations completely, figure out a way to pay for the mortgage, and go live with your mom. That was option number 1, which was a very, very viable option. There's conversations that were had that was what was going to happen.
You were 25 at
I was 25 after all the posts, the content of top producer this, top producer that. I was still making money, bro. Like, you understand? Like, I was still making easily 10, 15, 20K a month, but I ran up the expenses so high that, like, I thought it was going to go from 30K a month to 60 and then 80, then 100. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. The point is that there was a night where I was crying in my room. Like, damn, how did I get here, bro? Like, I remember the feeling of being on top of, like, having just comfort, you know, savings, investments, deals in the pipeline, closings lined up back to back. And then all of a sudden I got flipped on my back from like one day to another is what it felt like. And I had a decision, bro. And I said, you know, when you feel like you have something to lose, bro, you act different. So I said, bro, I'm going to act like I got nothing to lose, because what do I have to lose? I started this journey 2 years ago with nothing. So if I go back to nothing, at least I go back to experience. So I sacked up and I said, I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to dial. I'm going to get some listings. I'm going to close the listings, and I'm going to figure out how to move this, right? Like, I basically did like a zoom out, and I looked at the whole, like my cards. I looked at the chessboard, and I said, what are the moves that I can make to save this thing? Because giving up is not an option. Like, at one point it crossed my mind, but then the next gear kicked in.
Did you have the academy at that time too?
I was like, that was being like processed, like started, right? That at that time there was like no academy. There was just like coaching. It was like one-on-one with agents, you know, like building a little bit of a team.
So it was just the real estate and the crypto that was the main money making.
And I had a choice, bro. It was really tough, bro. I remember it was really bad. It was really bad. I had no budget for the house. I had no control of my money. It was really bad. And at the same time as all that started happening, crypto tanked. Like, all of it happened at once. It was the perfect storm. The perfect storm. Like, how do you go from $250,000 liquid, 30, 40K in income a month to absolutely nothing? Nothing. But I had a decision. And I said, you know what? I asked for more. In order to get more, you got to get tested. And you got to go through it. You got to pass the test. And then you come up on top of the other side.
Maybe I'm still young, right? So you guys can know I'm 18. With that, I think I could agree to disagree, because you didn't have to go through that test if you knew the right. If you knew, like, damn, to not live in the highs, to okay, this is happening. Okay, how can I be smart and think logically? For everybody, there was a saying by Warren Buffett. Sorry to run off the sentence.
No,
there was a saying by Warren Buffett that said, "You know who's naked when the tide runs down." You are naked.
Yep.
Because you were living in the highs. But that wasn't a thing that you had to go through. That was something that you put yourself through because of your stupidity, because of your ego, because of your, damn, bro, like, I'm making some money that I never made before.
100%.
So it's not something you have to go through. It's something you chose to go through.
I think.
But it made you who you were.
I think the universe and God put me through that on purpose. Because you might be different, right? You might start seeing success at a very young age now, very quickly, and you might be able to handle it. I come from a bloodline that's not able to handle it. thankfully I went through it at that scale versus like, let's say I would have popped off and made millions of dollars in crypto and gone into bankruptcy, whatever the case was. There was damage control. Like I put the damage control, like I put my foot down before it got out of control. You know what I'm saying? Like it could have gotten worse. Of course, I could have been smarter and not gone through it. But now that look where we're going, look where the trajectory of everything's going now. If I wouldn't have had that, like, bro, ever since you met me, like you've told me, like you've changed. I was very different when you met me, and before that, it was worse.
No, I told you.
And I'm not saying that really quick. I'll end with this. I'm not saying that I was a dick, or I was a little bit of a dick, but I never lost too much touch with what reality was. I did get a little bit out of control, but I tuned it down really fast, bro. Like,
you tuned it down fast, but actually, I went to church, and there was something that they said that ego is like one of those things that you will never know. Like you will know if you're being lazy. You'll know if you're being if you're eating a lot. You'll know if you're not going to the gym. But pride is something that you can't see. It's usually seen from others before it's seen by you.
Yeah.
And I told you that. I remember the first time we met, after I met like a month. I'm very honest. I was very honest with you.
I love that about you.
I said, bro, you're posting stuff on Instagram that's really not you. You're talking about making 40K a month, educate this. Like, bro, you sound like every other guy on Instagram. So you're going to get every other result. You're going to get the results of like, yo, you preach this, but this is who you really are. You preach make 50K a month. You're on this podcast. You're doing this, but you're negative 30,000 with the house. So it doesn't make sense.
I want to talk about that real quick though.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just.
No. You're right. But I want to.
No. This is
back on that.
This is why I love this, because I know you see it from a different angle. You see it as no, because I was, let's say, not faking it till you make it, but in a sense of like, I still believe that I was that person. Just I didn't. But still, you were preaching all this stuff, but behind the curtains, you're this. And I told you, I was like, yo, look, just with social media, you can be authentic with who you are. Like, you don't have to fake it till you make it. You just show the grind. You could say right now how we're doing on this podcast.
Yeah, I don't think it was that, though, because you didn't meet me before. Because
I only met you on your down. I met you
literally
met me on
like the down.
But
it's not like I was faking it till I made it, because there's never an I made it moment. One, there's never like we haven't made it now. Like in my head, like I made it in the sense of like I get to wake up every day and do something that I'm happy with. I made it, right? In that sense. Financially, though, it's an ever-going journey.
Of course.
You met me on the biggest low, but I had already achieved a lot. You know what I'm saying? It was just a low period, but I want people to understand that entrepreneurship, that's what the package is. That's what it comes with. It doesn't just say, straight highs. Any entrepreneur that has really made it to crazy levels, it's because they fucked up some sort of way. They learn from that fuck up and then they win up again. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like dance in the party when it's all going good and great. Like when you're making all the money, it's very easy to be an entrepreneur. But when it goes really bad and really south, that's one thing I will say about myself. I never folded.
When you say you never folded, what do you mean didn't like?
I could have packed the bags and just taken a step back, bro. Like the train was going full steam ahead at 100 miles an hour the whole time. And bags were flying out of the train, but I never folded. I never hopped out of the train to go pick up the bags. You understand what I'm saying? I picked up the shit that I was in and I figured it out and I kept moving forward. I could have slowed down the pace that I was doing content. I could have slowed down the pace that I was growing systems. I could have slowed down the pace that I was fixing a house. I could have slowed down the pace of everything that I was doing at that point in time. But I just said, I'm making these mistakes. I identified them. And then I'm like, how can I correct them? And just do what I do best, which is sell. Yeah. So I've sold my way out of it every single time. Bro, you know how many times I've had
sold your way out of
it.
You
know how many times I've had the conversation of like, just sell the house. Just sell both houses.
So why didn't you?
Because I didn't fold, bro. I know that in 10 years, I'm going to look back and be like, yo, thank you for being so mature at the age of 25, 26, and 27 and being able to hold that much pressure under your shoulders that you didn't crack and you didn't sell your assets. So, because what am I going to have? I could have gotten, like, this is something I want to clarify as well. I could have gotten out of the hole whenever I wanted to because I had equity in the house. I could have gotten out of everything whenever I wanted to because I had equity in the house. But I didn't fold in the sense of like starting over again. I'm like, I'm going to pick up the scraps from wherever I can and keep moving forward. So I lowered expenses, right? My expenses were egotistical expenses at one point because I wanted to just have the nice cars. I wanted to do all the nice $600, $700, $800 dinners every week. And I already understand like that money adds up. You understand what I'm saying? Like it adds up very fast. And I don't really give a shit about that like anymore. Of course, when we start,
Okay, you say, I want to clarify. You say you don't give a shit about it in the sense of like, now you're very cautious with your money. You're not doing $800 dinners every now and then.
I wouldn't say the word cautious because as an entrepreneur, you cannot be cautious about how you reinvest your money.
I'm not talking about reinvesting.
A little
I'm
bit
talking
smarter about
spending.
yes, stupid spending is definitely way down. It doesn't happen anymore, really at all. The only time I'll spend money now is if it's back into the business, and you can attest to that 100%. We don't really celebrate anymore, bro. Like we celebrate in the sense of like
we celebrated this weekend.
But what have we done this entire weekend? Like
Orlando?
the thing is, you didn't know what celebrating was back then. Celebrating back then was getting on a plane first class and spending $5,000, $4,000 on a trip, which to some people might not even be that crazy. But to me, that was crazy because I came from literally nothing. There was no money in the account. 2020, got a license. Fast forward, here we are with all of this amazing stuff that we get to experience. It was a lot of celebrating, which is not a bad thing. Celebrating is not a bad thing. Affirming that what you did was a positive is not a bad thing in the sense of reinforcing that thought in your brain. But excessive celebrating can break you out of momentum. And when you get broken out of momentum, you lose the exact thing you just had. All that time that you worked your ass off to get into momentum, by celebrating excessively, you just lost all that momentum.
On top of that, there was something Patrick Bet-David said on his new book that he was like, I got a guy in a room. He was a top producer for my say his insurance agency. He had that guy. He made $80K the last month, and Patrick told him, "Hey, where are you going to celebrate? Where are you taking your wife out to dinner?" And he was like, "No, I'm just gonna save the money. That way, I save it up." Next month, he made $10K. He's like, "What happened?" He's like, I don't know. You gotta celebrate. You have to feel the taste of what it is, so you have the willingness to keep going. But like you said, not that there's a balance, but there's a difference between excessive and, like you said, excessive taking off momentum and a taste of like, it makes you want more. Not in a greedy way, but like, yo, you still have a mission. I think that's the biggest thing, because even when you talk about you making money, you weren't really making money. Like when you really think about it, like 30, 40, 50K, you had the expenses, like saved up, you still weren't making like money.
Well, making it, yeah, but keeping it, no.
Keeping it, right? You were really keeping money.
But people think that entrepreneurship is, in the beginning, is keeping money. It's not keeping money, bro.
Reinvesting.
I could have kept money, right? I could have, let's replay everything. I could have kept money. I could have not invested in the houses. I could have not invested into the content, the personal brand, the trainings, the this, the that, the third. I could have kept money. I could have had a couple $100,000 in my account, maybe more, a couple more properties. But for what? Like, the biggest asset you can have right now in 2024 is personal branding. I have a personal brand. I have a genuine influence on my audience, and that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have invested all this money and time into the craft. So I think people that embrace that keep mentality, they're going to just stay where they're at. They're going to level off. They're going to plateau. But the reason why the trajectory is continuing to rise so much is because I'm not, even after everything that I've been through, I'm not hesitant to reinvest. I'm not hesitant to go back into the red zone. You know what I'm saying? But like now it's like with experience. Now it's like, okay, I know how to trek those waters a little bit better because I've been through it. But if you embrace that conservative, slow down mentality as an entrepreneur, you're gonna fail. The best thing that can probably happen to an entrepreneur in the first few years, in the ages of the late 20s, early 30s, is bankruptcy, bro. Jacob, you're 18 years old, bro. You've never been through your turbulent entrepreneurship times. Like, that's very transparent.
But do you think it's gonna, like, it's a must? You have to go through that, because
I think so. I don't think so, but I think for you to be able to, like, bro, it's like a video game. Like, you level up and then like you lose, but you already got to that level, so you know how to build up back to that level, and then now you know what to do right versus wrong to get to the next level. I think you have a very smart, but you really do. I want to say this really quick. You really do impress me at your age. Like, you really, like, your maturity, your commitment, your dedication, your discipline is impressive. I will say you are lacking a lot of tests, and that's maybe because you're very disciplined, but I don't think you haven't had a taste of that full freedom yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, live by yourself completely.
Oh yeah, because I'm
operate on a make XYZ amount of money a month and just do whatever the fuck you want. You haven't experienced that yet, and when you get that taste of freedom, it might be different. You might be able to handle it. Everybody's story is different, but I think, like, if you ask, PBD, if you ask any of the big names, you know, Grant Cardone, there was times I'm sure where they went up and they blew it all the way back down and then they went up again. That's a real entrepreneur. Like a real entrepreneur, just like those guys that just hit with crypto one time and then just like, I don't think that's a real entrepreneur. Like credit to them, you know, they got their breakthrough. But real entrepreneurship is like being able to like bring it all the way back down and then go all the way back up and then bring it all the way back down and then go all the way back up. Like we're in a snippet of time. Like I'm 28, I'm 27, you're 18. Like, let's have this conversation when I'm 50 and you're 40. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see how much longevity we have.
Yeah.
It's inevitable that you're gonna go through an up and down.
I
like so, as a podcast blows up, you will get sued. You will have turbulent times. Something's gonna come up about the podcast. Something about this. Something about that. Yeah. Like, it's not what happens. It's how you react to what happens.
That's powerful. My father used to always tell me, like, a wise man learns from others' mistakes because your mistakes are bound to come. Like, there's mistakes that are just bound to come.
Right.
But you can foresee other ones. For
sure.
example, understanding, let's say this month I make $20,000, $15,000, 18, live with my mom, car payment, the expenses for the business, that's flat. I don't have anything else. Damn, bro, like that's a lot of free cash that I could just spend. But a wise man learns from other mistakes. Okay, this guy fucked up in a way. Not really.
No, super fucked up.
But you messed up and look what happened to where you were. When other people talk about it, man, I wish I didn't. When you look at this guy, Mike Tyson, blew all his money. Like all these, you hear these stories of like people blowing their money because they never had a taste of it. Okay, I'll have a taste of it. I'll enjoy it in the sense of like, yo, let me take a little trip with my girlfriend here. Let me go to dinner with my mom. Nothing crazy, but not like excessive. I think it also comes down to your personality. This is the most important thing. And not to say you're a product of who you were or you're a product of your environment, because I believe that partially and partially not. I never went to parties in high school. I never went to parties. I never drank. Like I didn't have one drink in high school. Never went to parties. Never did anything. You were the complete opposite. You got fucked up in high school. You were partying. You were doing this. You were doing that, which is okay. That's a normal college or high school experience.
Right.
But I think that like crazy partying aside, I want to put to rest, and I realize that you did it. And I'm not saying it in comparison, but I'm saying it in realization that I don't think you let go of that when you had the money. The money was just like an amplifier.
Yes.
It was just an amplifier of who you were. And there was a saying that Mike Todd said, a pastor. It's like money doesn't change you. It just amplifies who you are. I think that's what it did. It amplified that you like to go out. It amplified that you like to drink. It amplified that you like to party. It amplified that you like to be with friends.
Yeah. Although in comparison to other people, I don't think I ever got out of control.
No.
I never did drugs. I never got in trouble legally. I never did any of that kind of stuff. And you talked about learning, a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. I had those mistakes in front of me. My dad committed those mistakes.
And you made the same
right
mistakes.
In front of me. I made the same mistakes on a less scale, like on a smaller scale. But I don't regret it, bro. I don't regret it because I'm entering a season and I'm in the middle of a season, and you can attest to this, where it's straight dialed in. Like I'm dialed in. I don't really party anymore. I don't really go out. If I go out, it's to have a drink or two, do a little reset. And now the mission is so clear. The vision is so crystal clear. If I wouldn't have gone through all of that, I wouldn't have matured. I was very immature at that time. Business-wise, I was very immature.
Yeah, because you never really had business.
Right. So
success.
For me, I'd rather have the experience that I went through versus the money in the account. Because that lesson was cheap. If you look at it, the cost of the lesson that I learned, the lessons that I learned, it was very cheap. If I would have paid millions of dollars for those lessons, it would have been a little bit more expensive. But I paid hundreds of thousands. It wasn't that expensive. That lesson is now going to prepare me to retain and keep and build a net worth of hundreds of millions of dollars over the next 15, 20 years. Mark my words. I wouldn't have gone through that at an early age. The reason why, look, this is why I'm going to be ultra successful and why I already think I am. I'm not afraid to fail. Although you might see it, or other people might see it as a total catastrophe fuck up. You blew this, you blew that, you blew that. You're not where you were at one point financially, statistically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm at a completely different point than I ever was and that I ever am. And that's going to prepare me for the financial come up. If I wouldn't have gone through those tough times and those failures, I would not be prepared for what's to come and for the way I'm performing now. So I trade the money in the account, the status, for the lessons under my belt and what's in my brain now. 100%.
I want to talk about where we are right now as well, so they kind of understand. Where we're at right now is in a special time. Like you said, I met you at that downtime. I said, yo, I told you, I said it on the podcast so you guys could check it out. I literally said, yo, like, or maybe it was after off camera. I told you, yo, like, you're a little bit different. You're a little bit different. Like, you know what you're talking about. I could see it in your eyes. I know. And there, you're like, at that time, you're trying a little bit to be somebody that you were, but at the same time, you were remembering who you were, but not accepting where you were because of that self-belief that, yo, right now, this is just my situation. This isn't who I am. That's what I realized. But where we're at right now, right, with the academy, the social media, all that stuff. Social media took off completely, and it's still taking off. I'm not saying
it's completely baby step. Yeah.
But it really did make a big progress. Multiple viral videos, like probably like 20, 30K followers that we gained when we started working together. Like traction. You go to events, people stopped you, which universal, and somebody like stopped you. Crazy.
So that's crazy, right? When I started telling you that what's happening, you're like, no, it doesn't.
No way he can't. Yo, you that cold call guy? Bro, you that? But people stopping you, right?
It's crazy.
It's also at a position in the academy that. Can we talk about the money or not?
Yeah, bro. I'm all about.
It's not about the money, but
it's not about the money. It's about documenting the process.
Exactly. The money
sure.
is a way to like document and see where you are.
For sure.
What was it last month like, or this month, February?
Revenue wise was probably close to 50. Revenue, revenue.
Yeah, after you have a lot of expenses.
There's a lot of expenses, but more important than the revenue was the team building. We went from zeroing out the team to now we have 11 members.
10 closers, 2 appointment setters, VA,
2 VAs, 2 appointment setters, 2 closers, you and your team. And we have more people.
There's another person that we're missing. What if it's 10, 11?
It's like 10 or 11 people.
But it's crazy.
And we're hiring. We have meetings this week. We're hiring more closers. We're hiring more appointment setters. We're gonna hire more VAs.
But I don't think people understand it. What the crazy part about it, and I don't know if this sounds cliche or not, but we really said it. Like there was a time that I was working for free for you for a month, and I remember you showed me your bank account.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's crazy.
And you were comfortable, and I was like, "Yo, look, I know the month's over. What's up? Bro? Like, let's revisit this conversation. Look, I don't work for free for somebody. I really want to show you, but
it's awesome.
And it happened. Like there was a video that blew up, and you're like, "Damn, bro!" Like I was like, "Oh, thank God." I was like, yo, okay, look, bro, like, what's up? Bro, I'm going to be honest, like, not really in a position right now. What do you mean you're not in a position? And when you told me that, I was like, he's full of shit. Full of shit. He's one of those guys full of shit.
You thought I was really?
Well, bro, because think about it. When you told me, you're like, yeah, bro, in a month I work for free and I got you, bro. You could probably make 3, 4, 5. Like, bro, I got you, bro. That's easy. And revisit the conversation. You're like, yo, I don't have. I was like, what do you mean you're not? Like, bro, show me your. I think it was your chase or your.
I showed you all of them.
You showed your chase and your TD. I was like,
yeah.
How the fuck is that even possible? You have
people don't understand, bro. People don't understand.
But it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't about that. You still believed in yourself. I still saw you working. I was like, bro. And then you're like, bro, look, let's do this, bro. Give me the percentage and I'll refer you out. I was like. And I think I'm still young, right? I'm really still young. Like I have a, how do you say it? Not reflection, but how do you say that when you know accountability? I think.
Elaborate.
Like when you know what you're doing, like I don't know, like
self-awareness.
Self-awareness, perfect. I have self-awareness to know that I'm young, and I'd rather take the risk of like, okay, let me go all on this guy, and even if in a year I wasted my time with him, that's perfect. I learned the lessons. Now I got him viral. Now I know what to do. Mm-hmm. So you know what I'm saying? So like, you know what? Yeah. Let me take that risk. Took that risk. It worked out. But that time when you showed me that bank account, I remember making that decision, that mental decision. I was like, bro, do I go all in on somebody? You know what? Okay, let's talk about it later. Went back to your house in like a week. And I remember those moments. I think your ex was there. That we were talking about, like, bro, it's really gonna happen. Like after that period, I'm like, you know what, bro, I'm going all in. I was like, bro, the I don't think people
It happens so fast.
The clarity of the vision and the way that we were speaking, it was like we already had it. Not we're looking at the results and we're like, bro, this isn't what it is. Like
You would see like X amount of views,
The-
and
the
I'm
way-
like, nah, this is
the-
worth way more. Like,
the way no, like the way that we would talk about what's happening right now, what's to happen in the future was like crazy. We would say, we're like, bro, that's crazy, bro. Like this month is gonna be like a crazy month. We're gonna have multiple of our videos. We're gonna do this. This is the projected income. Yo, it's gonna go crazy. Like I know you're
It
looking at this
happened.
right now, bro, but I'm gonna be out of water. Like trust me in like 2 weeks.
you probably thought I was nuts.
A little bit. I still think you're nuts. But
Well, of course I'm nuts, but again, you didn't know what I was capable of before. It was just there was no documentation. You don't understand what I'm saying? Like I've never showed you the bank statements
why this is-
of what I was making before. Like you never saw those bank statements. You never saw the deals that I closed. You never saw the negotiations that had to go through for those deals to get closed. You didn't see. Bless you.
thank you.
You didn't see what I did to get there. You just saw the guy that had the Instagram post and the fucking little war room in the back. Like you thought I was just all cap. But that's what I want you to understand, that I was so confident in myself, even throughout all the bullshit, because first of all, I came from absolutely nothing to what I was in less than 24 months in the industry. Basically started losing it all. And that confidence doesn't go away, bro. Like that self-belief never goes away. I always believe in myself. Am I going to make mistakes? Am I still going to make mistakes? Probably, bro. 100%. It's not going to be smooth sailing. The best part about what I know now is that I know it's not going to be smooth sailing. And I know that at the end of every single rough patch is a beautiful, beautiful spring that flourishes. But now, instead of in the spring getting greedy and spending and being like, hey, this season's never going to end, it's like understanding that entrepreneurship has seasons. Like there's a spring, there's a summer, there's a fall, there's a winter. And when you're in the spring, you need to prepare for the winter. And when you're in the winter, spring's right around the corner. If I would have known that before, if I would have known that when I'm in the spring that winter comes shortly after, I wouldn't have done what I did. If I would have known that, now I know that after winter comes spring, I'm not going to get down on myself in the winter.
It's crazy how you're saying this because I'm at that point.
I feel like that's a super ultra viral video.
Nah.
Yeah.
I was so like
The
I
like
like
the like entrepreneurship has. Would you say that it was what?
it was all right. It sounded like your old self. It sounded like the
But
guys. The richest way to become rich is like you have to be mentally rich.
it's true, bro.
Okay,
Guy,
like, I know. I believe
how
I
much
tease you. I
self-belief
tease
you have
Yes, I
to
know.
have.
No, and I
to,
and
for
I
real
truly
to make it happen.
no, and I know I'm a very sarcastic person. So I
Bro, he's so annoying.
no, like I'm a very sarcastic person, but I truly and I don't think about it sometimes, but I really do have a lot of self belief without even realizing because there's a lot of car rides that we have that I'm like, bro, I'm about to get this guy on. Like, how? No. I'm just saying, like I don't know how, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
get,
you
like
have
I'm gonna
that.
get him on. Like that's natural.
You have that.
I don't
yeah.
force that. I'm just like, yo, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I just know. I don't know how, but it's going to happen. And when you talk about all these things, the failures, the damn, bro, like I lived in the high, the spring, the winter. I'm kind of in the moment of like seeing where I'm at. Like, okay. Not that it happened easy, but it was a little bit like,
You're gonna get tested, guy.
I know, it's gonna come. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, I think if I try too hard to like, let me not run into that failure. Let me not
Run into it.
No.
Brother, you gotta run into it.
I think I'm gonna run into a failure. But I
No, I'm
do
saying
think
you can't trek with caution. You gotta just go
No,
with
I
your
don't- I
heart,
don't
go
want-
with your gut.
No. That's
You're a
not what I'm
very
saying.
wise man for your age.
I reinvent. Look, I'm very like, bro, what? I have nothing to do. I'm living with my mom still. Like, I'll comfortably say that. I don't know why people are embarrassed. I'm 18 years old. I live with my mother. I'm paying for all my stuff, pay for everything, but I have a business that I'm running that's doing pretty good actually. Like, I'm just judging where I'm at. Am I in that spring? Am I in the winter? Am I in the summer? I feel like I'm in that summertime. Yo, everything's
Bro, you're
chilling,
18 years
everything's going-
old. You're 18 years old. You're like in an infant phase of everything that you're doing right now is infant. You understand that? Like I was at Tony Robbins last week. Like 18 to 40 is like the first quarter of your life. 18 to 35, like, bro, do you even understand how young you are? You don't really. You're like a baby. Like I'm like a baby. Do you understand that we're gonna have a conversation in 25 years and we're still gonna have a bunch of life left to live?
Yeah.
Like look, this is my take, right? From a person that has seen success, has lost success, has gained success, has always stayed in the same mindset the whole time, which is something that's very important. You can't tippy toe around the moves that you make. You got to make your moves assertively with confidence and embrace the result, whatever it is. The quicker you do, if you seek perfection in your business, which I'm not saying you do, I'm just saying to anyone out there in general, if you seek perfection and to take the right step every single time, the person who didn't really check where that next step was going and just took the step and fell is going to get way further than you are way quicker. Because if you just track, let me take one step here. Okay, that ground is solid. Let me stand on that ground. And then let me take the next step there. That ground is solid. Let me go. Versus the person that just runs, falls, gets back, runs, falls, and then gets a little bit further. That person is always going to go further with more experience over the long run. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't be scared to take the next step and fall. Be smart about what you do. But that failure, when you fall in that hole, in that pit, and you learn how to crawl up and then go from the start line, while this guy's perfect, and has no scars and wounds, this guy right here is battle tested. When you're fucking battle tested, you're invincible, bro. Like, I'd rather be, like, dead ass. I'd rather be 35 and broke with battle wounds, battle scars, and experience than be 35 sitting on a fucking $1 million, $2 million, and not having any errors in my business. Because when the mistake comes, when the lawsuits come, when the bankruptcy comes, when the fucking winter comes, when the fucking downfall and the recession comes, you're not going to know how to handle it. I'm going to know how to handle it. It's not about the money, guy. It's not about being perfect or having the best track record. It's about having the most failures, fucking it up the most amount of times and getting back up every single time. That's what it's about. That's entrepreneurship.
It drives back to, this is from me, and I want to get into this faith topic later. Not in this podcast, but different. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. Walk by faith and not by sight. For me, at least, I can walk very confidently in like 7 months doing the podcast. So I really do think, and I'm like, damn, but like, I sent out hundreds of invitations. I've emailed so many. I can show you my outlet.
Talk about that.
Followed up. Nothing. And I'm at that point where I'm like, do I stop? Like, do I really stop? Like, do I stop? Because look at this for like 2 yeses. For like, yeah, we'll do it. And I don't know. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. But I'm at that position where I don't think about quitting. But it's there's just moments I'm like, damn. That waiting period, I think it's what it's called. That waiting period of, and there's a saying that God will show you the end result, but he won't show you how to get there. And that's where the walking by faith, not by sight comes. Because he'll show you, the vision is that you're going to interview this person. You're going to impact these people. And when you get there, you're going to say you did it all through Jesus. I'm not going to show you how to get there. What do you mean you're not going to show me how to get there? Walk by faith and not by sight. Trust. I feel that's where I'm at right now. I'm like in this path where I'm just so walking. I don't know the next step. I don't know the next person. People that tell me, literally this morning I woke up to a big CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. Oh, we're going to have to reschedule. Pretty much means no. But I'm going to have my hopes high. And I'm in that position right now. I don't know.
I think, again, back to what I'm telling you, like, you got to embrace those failures, bro. It's like in my industry getting, like one of the biggest deals that you sent out, like getting that offer denied or even worse having a deal go under contract and almost close and then the offer falls through. That's like the equivalent of you interviewing the biggest person on your podcast and then halfway through the podcast you notice that it wasn't filming and that person can never film again. Like those are the moments that are critical. The successes are great, bro. You don't really learn from success though. You learn from failure. That's what I want. That's the only mindset shift that I want you to embrace, that I see that you will learn eventually, is that you don't learn anything from a win. You don't learn from that.
I think you can learn from a win. You look at what you did right.
For sure. But like human nature doesn't support that. Human nature doesn't support the human brain saying, you know what, I did something wrong here. Let me learn. You might have that wisdom, right? But you will pick up so much more from a loss and a failure than you will from a win or a success anytime. So that feeling of, fuck, I don't like this feeling of this and that happening, this person canceling, whatever the case is, that feeling is going to help you get more efficient, figure out how to get your process better, bro. Like you've done so much in such a little bit of time. Like ever since you started, I was like, oh, bro, who the fuck is this guy? Leaders Talk Podcast, 2,000 followers. Like I reached out to you. I was like, bro, let's get on a podcast. Like, I like the way your energy was going, but you're an infant, bro. Like you're gonna be so ultra successful. I'm not. There's no question about that. I just want you to know that there's probably gonna be turbulence at some point. It's not. I'm not saying that because I went through turbulence. I study a lot of the great entrepreneurs. I look at their stories.
Everybody has that.
Everybody has their
Warren
turbulence,
Buffett has
but
had
the
it,
thing
parts
is,
of
you gotta
everybody.
embrace that shit, bro.
Of course.
Because that's just what's gonna separate you. The reason why, and again, self-belief, right? Anything that I've told you up until now in a very short relationship, you know that I'm gonna come through with it. My self-belief in the 10, 15, 20-year run is insane. Like, you probably don't even see that vision yet. You might.
No. I understand.
But I know it's gonna happen because I don't retreat from failure. Like, I'm like, I want that shit. Give me that. Give me the hard stuff now. Just like whenever I get on a cold call, I'm like, give me the hard objections. Go on a presentation, give me the hard objections. Give me the hardest possible client because I'm going to learn the most from it. I'm not afraid of that. That's what the last 3 years taught me. That if you go for the easy circumstances, you're going to come out with the harder circumstances later. If you go for the hard circumstances up front, your life's just going to get easier in the back end because you just know how to handle it, bro. It's really nothing to do with money. It just has to do with life. It's all a mental state. Like, everything is just like a mental state of like, where are you at? Like, where do you think you're at? And how you perceive that place in time. Like, now that I'm this experience, which still so much more to go, but like now I could have perceived what I was going through when I was going through it without the experience, like as a bad thing. That's what I was perceiving it as. This is horrible. This is the worst thing that's ever happening to me. I'm gonna lose the house. I'm gonna lose the condo. I'm gonna lose this lifestyle. But that was the best thing that was happening to me. Because if that wouldn't have happened, I would have really lost it.
I'm trying to think. I think that's a good title. If it wasn't for that, I would have. Nah, I think learn.
If it wasn't for that failure, bro.
If it wasn't for that failure,
when you're in your worst days, brother, I thought those were the worst days of my life. Like, obviously, once like when you get a really bad stomach ache.
No.
And like when you're going, you've never had a really bad stomach ache, and you're like on the toilet, you're like praying to God, like, God, I promise you, I'll do everything in my life right if you just take the stomach ache away. You've never been in that situation, and then when the stomach ache passes, you're like, nah, it wasn't even that bad. That's how those times are. Like, when you're going through that shit, you're like, bro, God, I will do anything to repay you if you just get me out of this one. And then when you get out of it, you don't feel it as bad because you're not going through it anymore. Those were some of the worst days ever, bro. But now I look back and I'm like, dude, those are some of the best days ever. So now next time I feel like I'm in one of those worst days, I'm like, wait a second, this is the best time right here. Like, not a lot of people have that mentality genuinely, bro. They don't know how to handle that shit.
Actually, and I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that this is why I truly believe this podcast is going to be special. Not only the home team, but also the interviews that we have with other people, because I want it to not be service level.
Yeah.
I like, there's a central message that I think in every home team and every podcast that we're going to have, that everybody had a failure. Everybody had that one pivotal decision that they made that they could have backed down or they could have stepped up to the plate. That's what I really want this podcast to represent. Not only learning, because like you said, a big part of it is wise men learn from others' mistakes. So I want to talk about your mistakes. I want to talk about other people's mistakes. I want to like, tell me why didn't you stop when you had this happen and this happened, this happened? No, because if I stopped, I wouldn't have gotten here. It's interesting you say that. And that's what I ultimately want you guys to learn as well. Like you said, a man that's running and not double thinking. If you wait too long, opportunity is quick. And opportunity comes to those who are prepared. But if you're prepared, but then you think twice about it, it's too late. So you either got to jump in or you jump out. And there's going to be a lot of people that tell you, nah, don't jump. Look, that's risky. Yo, don't jump. That guy, he's not really who he says. Yo, don't jump. That podcast, bro. Like, it's going to be hard to get that guy. And actually, another funny story, that one of the guys that I interviewed, he's running for Miami-Dade County Mayor. I found out who he was from my girlfriend's dad. And we watched a documentary that he had in the movies. I'm going to interview that guy. I told him, I'm going to interview that guy. I don't know how I'm going to interview him. And her dad said, it's not going to happen, bro. Trust me, he's way too armed. He's a big guy. You cannot interview him, whatever. Watch. 2 weeks later, got the interview posted. He was like, what the fuck? And now I'm working with him. And it was like, it is real.
No, but this is...
Otaola.
Okay. You can say the name. I just wanted to make sure it was the same guy.
No, Otaola. But...
That's crazy, bro.
Bro, but I remember my girlfriend's dad was like, you're not going to get him. Like, No, I'm telling you, you're just not gonna get him. Like, I don't want you to get sad or anything. You're just not gonna get him. He's really like everybody wants to interview him. You're not gonna get him. It's not gonna happen.
No, he's your number 2 client.
But he was like, yo, like, you're not gonna do it. And I remember in that moment that just that self-belief, and I think this is what I want, and I don't think I know this is what I want this podcast to be. All about the self-belief, all about going under the surface level of like, yeah, we made it. Yo, how was that experience? What did you learn? And I want to get like deep. I want to talk about your negative bank account that you showed me in that moment, and I thought you were a nutcase. Like, that's what I want to talk about. And I really, 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 really hope you guys enjoyed this. This was literally just a tip of the iceberg. Like, I really do want to get the tip of the iceberg.
I think we're gonna do so much more. I'm gonna be like, yo, Jacob, like, we gotta meet up right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think this could be something that per thing, like, spend a whole podcast just talking about that failure. A whole podcast. I know this one we talked a lot about it, but just the whole thing talking about this, a whole thing just talking about sales, a whole thing talking about how to level up from the positioning, a whole thing talking about the podcast. Like, because I don't want it to be like giving it all on one thing. I really do want to give the tip of the iceberg, and I really, really, really hope you guys see the craziness.
Can I make a quick prediction?
Go ahead.
At some point this year, Jacob and I are gonna have, I don't know, I just see this right now, like right in front of me. We're gonna have an HQ somewhere in Miami, where Academy's going to run, and we're going to have a content studio and a podcast studio, and that's where Hometeam's going to be filmed. We're going to have a big logo behind us that says Leaders Talk Podcast, Hometeam Edition. I don't know. I just see it. At some point before the end of the year, we're going to have an HQ.
Maybe?
No. 100%.
Well, you guys will...
This is the first episode of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
You guys will be attest to it. And another reason why I believe this is very special is because the relationship that we have. Like I said, I caught you on a downtime, but now we're at a position where we're both in like that uprise.
Which is important. And I want to mention that as we both go viral and we get more status, more money, blah, 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 this shouldn't change.
Yeah.
Hometeam shouldn't change.
No, I don't.
Like, this should be for the long run.
No, I really do think, and this is why it's going to be so special, because I really do believe if this is like this is what I want it to be like. If it was a podcast, this is what I was supposed to say in the beginning. This is like if it was a podcast with Warren Buffett, with Patrick Bet-David, with Grant Cardone, before they became that. This is what I really want it to be. Like, people can look back 2 years ago. Damn, bro, they were talking like that 2 years before they even to really be a test of like, walk by faith and not by sight.
Yeah.
A major self-belief, and the failures are 100% going to come. But it's how you react, or actually how you respond and not react to those failures. That's what I want this to be. And our story's just going to be documented through this. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys really did enjoy it. If you guys did, make sure to follow the Instagram. Make sure to check out his Instagram. It's crazy growth. Check out his Instagram, Jacob Giron Instagram. Alexis Valladares, LeadersTalkPodcast. I'm going to link everything down. It's always going to be a link in bios.
And hit the subscribe button.
Guys, if you really made it this far, like, if you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, follow the Instagrams. That's all I'm going to say. Follow Instagram to stay up with the news, new podcasts, new episodes, behind the scenes, everything. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next one.